I find one of the major problems as a researcher, I'm always amazed that many people skip right past the initial investigation. You know, if I'm investigating a crop circle, I want to know who reported it, where did they see it from, the transmission of information into the public arena, because that'll often bring out information, you know, and quite often, if I track a source of a crop circle right back to the initial report, quite often it will turn up to be someone that's involved in hoaxing crop circles, who will inform a well-known website, for instance. You know, there's kind of games and things being played in the background of this subject. You know, for instance, we have the world's most prolific crop circle website, Crop Circle Connector. Okay, they get probably several million hits a year on that website, and almost everybody goes there for their information. And you know, when you've got situations where they'll go out, they'll photograph a crop circle, they'll put it on their website with no real information, and then they'll say, oh, this crop circle means this, you know, just because this shape, you know, oh, it's a pyramid shape, therefore it means this and this and this. And the people that go to that website, and at least a large proportion, that will just be believed and taken on board as some kind of fact, when really it's just somebody's kind of flaky interpretation. You know, I could pick a leaf off a tree, look at its geometric structure, and come up with all kinds of metaphysical interpretations just about that shape, but it would be relatively meaningless. And I find it kind of disturbing in a way, because it's in a way that turns the subject into a kind of a religion, you know, and you know, 2,000 years of religion is enough to be going on with. We really don't need another one, you know. In my mind, you know, to my understanding, the crop circles are something that wake people up, you know, they get people thinking for themselves, to become individuals. And the way some websites and some researchers deal with it, they're creating basically almost like a religious cult, which is to me the exact opposite of what should be happening. And I find that really disturbing. You know, I know researchers that work quietly, very closely with hoaxers, you know, and this is like well-known researchers that will stand on the stage in their conference saying this is amazing, it's a mystery, we don't know where they're coming from. And then they're working right alongside hoaxers, producing nice shapes for their books and calendars and whatever. To me, that's conning people. That's fraud. That's a con. And remember, I mean, in corporate business, you may expect things like this because business is business, but this is affecting people at really deep levels. You know, with the silent circle, you know, If we can't be sure about the origins of a crop circle, we'd rather just say nothing, maybe put a photograph on the website and leave it at that. If we do a physical investigation on the ground, then we'll say it as it actually is on the ground, without any interpretation, without any theories, just saying this is the effect on the ground as it was on the first day, with time-stamped photographs describing exactly what we're saying. I have a real serious problem with people that use this subject to benefit themselves, either to fuel up their egos, to fill up conference halls with people. You know, I think the key thing which is missing in this subject, in the area of research, is honesty. Because if this subject was researched honestly by the people that are supposed to be researching it, then it could be easily demonstrated now that most of the crop circles are man-made. And that really, you know, that would be in some sense maybe a bit of a shock for some people, because over the past 20 or 30 years, the information that has flowed out of this subject has generally conveyed the opinion that most crop circles cannot be explained, when in reality most crop circles can be very easily explained. They're just not explained, that's all, but they can be explained. And I think they should be, you know. If we're searching for truth here, it needs to be the three-dimensional truth on the ground as it really is, not some kind of truth that I wish into being. You know, that doesn't benefit anybody, apart from me maybe, if I had an ego thing going on. So yeah, it's disturbing, but it's the nature of the subject. It seems my recommendation would be to anybody that was going to come and investigate the crop circles and don't believe anything that anybody tells you, because quite often it's wrong. You know, I came into this subject in 1997, and I watched all the DVDs, I read the books, and I kind of created a version of reality in my mind from all of that information. And then when I get here on the ground and I investigate the crop circles, I find actually those books and those DVDs and these people, they were either deluded and wrong, or they were conning me into believing something was real when it wasn't. But the kind of ironic thing is, what I found during the course of that research was something more amazing. Interacting with the circles phenomena on the ground at the very physical level, which involved, really spending lots of time in every circle that I could get to and sleeping in them, investigating them, observing them with sensitive recording technologies, etc. In the crop circles that did turn out to be genuine, I had some incredible encounters, with types of paranormal phenomena, whatever you might like to call these things, but the genuine phenomena, the genuine subject does seem to generate some kind of energetic effect or attract some kind of paranormal activity. It's really hard, and I think it's almost an individual thing, but even though I found out that a great many of the crop circles were man-made, they were physically created, and it could be physically understood and seen how that was done, the real phenomena is there, and it's real, and it's quite overt and physical in its form. And during the past 16 or so years of interacting with that, I have had what I would consider to be close encounters with paranormal activity that I would have never had in any normal kind of existence or normal life. And those things have indicated to me that we're existing in a space parallel with other forms of consciousness, other beings, and that we're part of something much, much bigger and much more important than we could ever possibly imagine through our indoctrinated education system. And I just feel that intrinsically special part of the phenomena, i.e. the real phenomena, should be presented as it really is, with the evidence, and that would be opened up for research. And at the same time, it would separate this man-made confusion, rubbish circus. It would put it over there, and it would put the real thing right down in front of us for proper interaction and examination.